Welcome back to Mysteries Crime Stories, the channel where we dive into the darkest crimes, the strangest cases, and the mysteries that have haunted generations. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe so you never miss these mysteries. Tell us in the comments what you think about the cases we cover, what you'd like to see in future videos, and share this story with anyone who would find it important. Now, let's begin. Story 1. The Vanishing of Geraldine, 1953, Ontario, Canada. In July of 1953, the Huggin family left their home in Winnipeg and drove east into the wild heart of Ontario. Their destination was a secluded cabin hidden among swamps and endless forest, a place where silence seemed to press against the windows at night. For the three young Huggin daughters, it was supposed to be an adventure. On their first morning, the adults packed supplies for a day at Fox Lake. The two older girls played in the front yard while 5-year-old Geraldine lingered by the side of the cabin, out of sight but still within earshot. Every few minutes, a parent glanced outside. Each time, Geraldine was there, until she wasn't. When the family called her name, the woods gave nothing back. They searched the cabin. They circled the property. The forest remained still, almost listening. No footsteps, no answer. By afternoon, police and trackers were scouring the swamp. The army sent help, but heavy rain erased every trace of the child's path. 3 days later, small footprints appeared on a mossy ledge overlooking the water. They turned back toward the swamp and vanished. Then, on the 7th day, searchers found something stranger. A massive footprint in the mud. Too large for a man, too human-like for a known animal. And though no one dared say it aloud, the idea spread. A giant had come out of the forest. 9 days into the search, a torn scrap of Geraldine's shirt was discovered 2 miles away. The following morning, her remains were recovered near Long Lake. Her body bore signs of animal predation, yet her clothes were untouched, free of blood or tearing. She had been dragged to that spot from a meadow where the grass lay pressed flat, as if by something massive. Investigators debated 2 theories. One, an impossibly large man had abducted her, moved unseen through the forest, and evaded capture. Or 2, some unknown predator had taken her, leaving only distorted traces behind. Neither explanation satisfied the family, and to this day, Geraldine's disappearance remains one of Canada's most haunting wilderness mysteries. Story 2. The Silent Forest, 2010, Ohio, USA. Jan McCabe lived for hunting season. On September 29, 2010, she climbed into her tree stand in the woods near Lima, Ohio, bow in hand, the late afternoon sun streaking gold through the leaves. Birds sang, squirrels darted, insects buzzed. She leaned back, texting a friend while she waited. Then the woods went silent. Not a gradual hush. The silence was absolute, as if someone had severed the sound from the world. No crickets, no birds, not even the scrape of a squirrel. Jan froze. Hunters knew this meant a predator was near. But this silence felt wrong, like the forest itself was holding its breath. She texted. The woods just went completely silent. Very odd. Lowering her phone, she saw movement across from her. In the branches of a nearby tree shimmered a figure, transparent but solid enough to bend the light. It looked like a human wrapped in glass or heat haze, moving deliberately through the branches. Jan blinked hard, rubbed her eyes. When she looked again, it was closer. Crouched on a branch, watching. Heart pounding. She raised her phone and snapped a photo. At that moment, the figure slipped behind the trunk and vanished. Instantly, the forest came back to life. Birds, squirrels, insects, everything as it had been. That night, Jan stared at the picture on her phone. To most, it was just blur and branches. To her, it was proof she had not imagined it. Something had been there, watching her from the trees. Something the forest itself seemed to fear. Story 3. The Roadside Stranger, Late one autumn evening, a young couple was driving home along a lonely stretch of road bordered by farmland. The sky was clear, the moon casting pale light over endless fields. The highway stretched straight and empty. As they rounded a bend, the headlights caught a figure on the roadside. A man, tall and thin, dressed oddly in what looked like an old-fashioned coat. He stood motionless, facing away, his pale hands hanging at his sides. The couple slowed, expecting him to turn or step aside. He didn't move. As they passed, the woman in the passenger seat glanced out and gasped. His face was blank, not expressionless, blank. Where his features should have been was smooth skin. They sped up, hearts racing, but a mile later, as the road dipped, their headlights illuminated the same figure, standing again by the roadside, the same coat, the same pale, empty face. Terrified, they drove faster, refusing to look back. When they finally reached the edge of town, the man was gone. But neither ever forgot the figure waiting on that deserted road, appearing again and again as though tethered to their fear. Story 4. The Cabin Visitor. A group of friends rented a cabin in the mountains for a weekend getaway. The first night was uneventful. Laughter, card games, stories by the fire. But near midnight, as the wind rattled the windows, one of them froze. From the darkness outside, someone was humming. It was faint, almost a tune, drifting between the trees. The group went silent. Then came the footsteps. Slow, deliberate, circling the cabin. One of the men grabbed a flashlight and flung open the door, shining it into the woods. Nothing. Only the beam catching branches and snow. The humming stopped. Uneasy, they locked the doors and tried to sleep. But at dawn, fresh footprints were discovered in the snow outside, bare footprints. Each print was enormous, far too large for any of them, and they circled the cabin again and again, leading off into the forest where no trail existed. The friends cut their trip short. Years later, one admitted he sometimes still hears humming at night, faint and far away, like a reminder that something once stood outside, watching. Story 5. The Man in the Field. In rural Kansas, a farmer often worked late into the evening, tending his land until the stars came out. One night, as he drove his tractor toward the barn, his headlights swept across the field and caught a figure standing among the corn. At first, he thought it was a scarecrow. But as the machine moved closer, the figure turned its head. Two glinting eyes reflected the light. The farmer stopped. No one should have been out there. He shouted, but the figure didn't move. Then, slowly, it began walking toward him. Terrified, he threw the tractor into gear and sped for the barn. When he looked back, the field was empty. The scarecrow, or whatever it was, had vanished. Later, when he returned with his sons, they found only trampled stalks where the figure had stood. No footprints, no sign of anyone passing through. For weeks afterward, the farmer swore he felt eyes on him whenever he crossed the fields at night. And, though he never saw the figure again, he stopped working after dark. Some land, he decided, wasn't meant to be walked once the sun went down.